Good morning, Stanton. Welcome back to the next round of this year's Ship Showdown. Now, before we get into the ships and going over the ships, I'd like to do a little bit of house cleaning. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and help me out. I am slowly inching up towards my 1,000 subscriber goal, at which point then I'll be able to hopefully start having more giveaways on the channel of ships and different little goodies for Star Citizens. So if you would like to eventually see some of those, please help me out by subscribing. Now, on to a couple more things. First of all, they've updated the bracket. Now, when I first showed the bracket, I pointed out that the Crusader logo was missing on the Mercury Star Runner. Also, they only referred to it as the Mercury, which seems to be CIG's thing to do. They still only refer to it as Mercury, but they did put on the Crusader logo. That is not the big change, though. The big change is that the C8 that was against the mule at the bottom is no longer. It is now the C8X Pisces, which is the X version, which is, in my opinion, superior. So it's going to be a little more interesting. This led to some discussions about variants and about paints. If you have a ship and you had the C8 and you were excited about getting the paint if that ship made it into the next round, what's going to happen now that it's the C8X? Because last year people were getting paints for some ships and not for others. And so they went over that in the Spectrum post, and variants that have new hulls that change the ship will not get paints if that ship wins. So an example is if the Cutlass Black wins, the Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, and the Steel do not share the hull. They don't get paints for Best in Show like the Cutlass Black. The Hercules is the example from last year where a lot of people were upset they had Hercules and they didn't get Best in Show because they didn't have the version that won, which I think was the C2 or was the A2. I can't remember which one won, but that is the case. Variants that are intended to be modular, so the internals change but the hull doesn't change, those will share paints. And so last year an example was the 600. So the 600i, Touring, and Expedition both are considered to be the same ship with a different internal configuration. And eventually, with modularity, just like modularity for the Caterpillar, you're going to be able to switch those out. You're going to be able to take your 600i Expedition and turn it into a Touring, or vice versa, just by swapping on those modules. So the example is the 600i. If it wins a paint, the paint goes to all versions. The MPUV from last year also, apparently, I didn't think the MPUV cargo and the personnel carrier shared a hull. I thought that the back little box was different on those, but apparently not. Apparently, if you have one, it counts to the other. The Pisces says the only difference is the hard points, so both would get paints. That's kind of interesting. I didn't think that the Pisces was a modular variant. I thought they were considered to be two different things, having the C8X or the C8, but apparently they're the same. So regardless, if you have a C8X or a C8, you will get the points for both those. Vanguard, which is being voted on today, I'm unsure. I think they're modular. I think because there is a large number of Vanguard ships. So if you have the Vanguard Warden or one of the other Vanguards, I think you're probably going to share the paint, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Also, all the ships currently in the Showdown. So we have the Redeemer, the Gladius, the Scorpius, the Vanguard, tomorrow's the 600i and the Terrapin. All those ships all the way down are also having sales on right now. So some of those ships are not always available for sale. The Star Runner, I don't believe, well, sorry, the Mercury, if I'm a CIG employee, I would be calling it the Mercury. I don't believe that's always on sale, but it's currently on sale now. Also, all the Showdown editions of all the ships come with 24-month insurance. So that'd be a 2-year insurance on the ships. Insurance really doesn't matter at the moment. Who knows how much it's going to matter in the future? I think on little ships, really not that much. On bigger ships, and if you're ever going to buy one of these ships and upgrade it to a bigger ship, longer insurance always helps. Just it's something you're not going to have to worry about. Also, if you ever have a ship with LTI, the fact that you'll always have a ship to earn money to buy the other insurance on the ships is going to be awesome. So that's pretty much it for the house cleaning on this. We'll get into yesterday. I voted for the Gladius, and I thought that the Redeemer is going to win. I thought the Redeemer would just basically breeze through that category. It was admittedly the better ship, but I do like the Gladius, so that's why I voted for it. It was a lot closer than I thought. When I first checked before I had to go to an appointment, it was about 14,500 to about maybe 11,500. It won by a little over 3,000 votes, which at the end of it, it was like 15-7 versus 12-2-ish around there. So the Redeemer won. The Redeemer is going to be going on to the next round. That next round is going to be one of the two ships from today. These are the two ships we're going to go over, the Scorpius and the Vanguard Warden. We're going to start with the Scorpius. The Scorpius is a heavy fighter, small size ship. So unlike the Gladius, which was a light fighter, this is a heavy fighter. This is a fighter both designed to take some hits and dish them out. It's got a rail-mounted remote turret, which is pretty awesome, so the person in the vehicle can actually control the turret remotely, which can slide upon a rail from the front top down to the back behind. So you could be running away from a ship and firing on the ship while you're running away, then turn around and engage the combat directly and be aiming at the ship, and then when you pass by it, flip the turret back around, shooting back again. It's a cool design, and the only rail-mounted turret, I believe, in the game. It's also got a bi-wing design. I've talked about different ships from different science fiction eras or properties being used as an inspiration for the design of ships in Star Citizen. This is definitely based, at least in design of the wings, on the X-Wing from Star Wars. So the wings fold in and then they come out, but they don't fold flat, they kind of fold back behind, almost like a dragonfly wing. You can fire the guns both when they are folded in and when they're spread out. When they're folded in, you have a more concentrated point of fire. Spreading out, you're actually having a wider field of fire, but you are larger and easier to hit. No cargo in this plane. You can't, I guess I should call it a ship, you can't do cargo runs in the ship. You can only fight in the ship. This is a fighting ship. 1 to 2 crew. 1 crew you're piloting and operating the wing-mounted guns. I don't know if you could control the remote turret while you are piloting. 2 crew, you have someone operating the turret while the other person's firing. Lots of guns on this. 4 size 3 gun mounts, 4 size 3 additionally on the turret itself, 8 size 2 missiles, and 2 each inside the ship of shield generators, coolers, power plants, fuel intakes, and fuel tanks, and then it's got its like jump drive and its quantanium tank. The Vanguard Warden, on the other hand, is a little bit different, but very similar and well matched, I think, for this competition between this and the Scorpius. This is considered on paper to be a 2 crew heavy fighter, as opposed to 1 or 2 for the Scorpius. It says here that it suggests 2 crew to operate the Vanguard Warden. Still a heavy fighter, still about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger. Considered a long-range fighter. So it's got interior space for the crew to kind of move around and live and operate on longer ranges. 0 cargo on this one around. Again, this is a fighter. This is not a ship for running cargo and kind of do everything all at once. This is a fighting ship. Guns, there is a size 5 hardpoint on the front. That is a gun that packs a lot of punch. On top of that, you got 4 size 2. I believe there's 2 size 2 on the turret. So this is definitely one ship for pounding a lot of ammunition into your target right away, doing a lot of damage. It has 2 power units, 2 coolers, 4 shield generators, which is 2 more than the Scorpius, and 2 fuel tanks and intakes. It's got lots of missiles, 4 size 4. I think there's 2 sets of 4 size 4 missiles, and then it gets kind of confusing. I'm really not sure about the hard points on the game thing, because it says there's 2 size 4 times 2. That's confusing to me. So I don't know really. If someone can tell me in the comments how many missiles are actually on this. Is there 8 or is there 16? This is kind of a confusing thing for me. So regardless, a lot of missiles. This ship is a ship that I've really ignored. I always kind of thought of it actually being a little bit smaller and less impressive than it actually is, until I started looking into the ship here and seeing what it looks like. So this is actually a pretty impressive ship. The Scorpius, the newer ship, kind of a cool looking ship, but I really don't know which one of these is going to win. I think more people probably own Vanguards of one version or another, and so I would say that there's more likely that this one is going to be the one that wins. So my vote for this round, I think I'm going to go with the Vanguard Warden is the one that I think should go on to the next round. Both really close. I could go either way, but I'm going to go with Vanguard. So that's my vote. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And tomorrow, join me again where we are on to round 3, the 600i Explorer from Origin versus the Anvil Aerospace Terrapin. Two ships that couldn't be any different from each other as compared to these well-matched fighters of today. So how is that going to go? We will see. Until next time, I hope to see you soon in the verse. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.